Hello, welcome. Hi guys, hope you're all well. I hope everyone's staying safe and having a wonderful, 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 wonderful week. It's Friday. I'm feeling my Friday feelings. Looking forward to the weekend ahead. We've had a really fantastic week so far with this Tokyo Liftoff Film Festival 2020. We started with two programs running side by side, the headliners for the features and the headliner shorts. And I have to say, it has been exceptional. We have had over 1100 views this week so far. It's been absolutely incredible. The amount of votes that are coming in are still coming in thick and fast, and it's just warming our hearts so much that during these really tricky times, I hate to use the pun words here for it, but during these difficult times, people are still supporting indie films. So thank you so much for getting into this program and watching the content. A massive shout out to our filmmakers that are part of this program this week, that are part of the next 3 weeks worth of programs as well. And yeah, like I said, this is going to be running for the whole of June, so we're going to be having loads more content for Tokyo Liftoff to show you guys. Lots and lots of films from Japan and the Far East, and also films from around the world as well. So this is something that we are so unbelievably pleased with. We never thought that it was going to be this successful. We thought it was going to be okay, but we didn't think it was going to be this great. So hats off to everyone that's taken part in the festival. Hats off to everyone that's engaged with the festival and watched the content, sent us the feedback, sent us the amazing votes and stuff. It's just been phenomenal. Just want to kind of scroll through this right now, because this is the website right now. As you can see, this is a direct feed from the website that we've got. You can get to the website by heading to our website, which is liftoff.network/Tokyo Liftoff Film Festival 2020. All the words separated by hyphens. And if you just scroll down here, you'll actually get to see all the sort of stuff that we've got currently happening so far. So I say from the 1st to the 7th of June, we have the headliner short. That's happening right now. That'll be finishing on the 7th of June. We then move through to the Trendsetters, which is running from the 8th to the 14th. We've got Trailblazers, and we've got newcomers that will be coming soon. The tickets will be available after the preview weekend. So we send out, if you're a filmmaker that's part of the festival, you'll be getting your links on the Friday prior to it going live on the Sunday night. So please be patient. We love all of you, but please be patient. You'll be getting all the information as and when we've collected the films and set up the programs. We're getting a lot of emails at the moment from people saying that they don't have any links yet. That's totally fine. We're doing this on a week by week basis. It's an awful lot of content to get through, and we're just making sure that everything gets staged up correctly. But yeah, please just come to here, have a look on our website first and foremost to see what's coming up, see where to go, and you just head to Vimeo on demand, and the films are there for you guys to enjoy. So please just carry on with that fantastic commitment that you guys have shown so far to this incredible array of films. And yeah, thank you so much. I mean, I cannot say thanks enough. It's just been absolutely fantastic and phenomenal. So hats off to you guys, and thank you so much for supporting indie film. It's really good. And yeah, after this we have New York Liftoff that will be kicking off. So New York Liftoff will be starting I believe we're going to be going into the month of July for New York. So it's going to be a very similar format again, because obviously New York have been really badly hit by COVID-19, so it's going to be impossible for us to fly out there. So we're going to be doing a similar sort of setup, and this will also coincide with the season awards as well. So every single film that's currently screening at Tokyo Liftoff Film Festival 2020, screening this week, screening next week, and the preceding 2 weeks after that, they will be up for nominations for the Liftoff Season Awards. And that's anything from Best Director, Best Actor, Best Art Direction. There's so many different elements. There's actually 15 prizes to be won at the Season Awards, with some great gifts that will be handed out from our sponsors on part of that as well. So please check that out. If you are a filmmaker and you are involved in Tokyo Liftoff, and you do feel that you've got an exceptional actor or someone that's been working really well on the actual project, then please just get that person to realize that this is happening. Get them to go onto the festival page and see the competition that they're up against, because this is quite something, and we really want the season awards to kind of take center stage this year, because it's definitely the place where we will be rewarding and awarding the fantastic creatives, not just the filmmakers themselves, but all of the other creatives that are behind that work. So yeah, thank you so much. So that's Tokyo Liftoff dealt with. We hope you guys engage with it. Like I say, it's been so good, so good. And yeah, let's move through. So basically, what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be doing a workshop on how to generate great ideas for genre-based content. Now, this is technically version 2 because I did this back along when we used to run this on Twitch. Something that we did when we first started out doing the workshops when COVID-19 sort of happened, and we thought that we were going to go into a workshop model and try and like help our filmmakers to understand the kind of work that we accept. This is something that has been collected over time through various different filmmakers that have come through our network. We always talk to them about where they got their ideas from, how they generated their ideas, and how they tackled things like high-end genre. So things like fantasy, sci-fi, comedy, anything, crime, anything that's kind of like really sort of rich in genre. We always kind of delve down that rabbit hole and try and find out where those ideas come from and how that imagination is kind of brought forward. So that's what this is all about. So without further ado, we'll crack on and we'll get on with today's workshop. I'll get my little red squiggly thing here. Here it is. Yep. And we'll crack through. So just to sort of start things off, it's really important to understand the fundamentals of idea creation. So knowing what the root is of an idea. So have a think about now whilst we go through this workshop, times where you've had fantastic ideas for your work, even if you've had fantastic ideas for other people's work. I mean, we're all great critics, right? But try and kind of like think about where the genesis of ideas actually came from. And then really kind of, because it's incredibly personal for people. Some people have great ideas in the bath. Some people have great ideas when they're out for a run. Some people have great ideas at different parts of their lives. So it's good to kind of know where the good ideas come from and what the kind of physical and mental state that you need to be in order to generate good ideas. And knowing that kind of helps you set up yourself for more ideas effectively. So understanding the root of an idea is really important. And knowing what drives one's creativity. So what makes you want to be creative, and then knowing what gives us all inspiration. So those two work hand in hand very, very clearly. And then knowing when to create conditions for crafting ideas. So just like number 1, so understanding the root of an idea, but then knowing when to create the conditions for crafting them. As we all probably know, there's stories about Stephen King, who goes up into the woods in the forests of Maine, and he literally just spends months writing his novels in a secluded situation. That's how he creates the conditions for crafting great ideas. He gets himself secluded. He probably consumes an awful lot of things prior to the seclusion, or maybe even during the seclusion, and then he uses that time that he has through his seclusion to get his ideas off the ground and get them working and get pen to paper, get words to screen, and get his books made. And also understanding the creative pitfalls in high level genre. So really knowing that, like, what the potential pitfalls are. So for example, it's great coming up with really wonderful ideas that have fantastic scenes, fantastic settings, but without actually being able to realize them because of things like budget restrictions, or because of things like the technology just simply doesn't exist. These are things that you must understand kind of how to work around. So it can be quite good if you go backwards on that. So if you're looking to create ideas, it's always good to know, what do I actually have at my disposal right now for a minimum amount of money and a minimum amount of time that will actually enable me to get my ideas created. The more you constrain your circumstances, just like drawing with a pencil and paper, the more creative you'll end up becoming. It's a really interesting thing, but if you're only allowed to use 3 paints and 1 brush, you'll find that you come up with way more interesting ideas than if you had an entire art department ready for you. So try to understand that is a fundamental aspect of human creativity, is that when you are restrained, you tend to be more creative. You tend to think about more things. So by understanding the pitfalls, you know where your restraints are, and then you can come forward with that as well. So look deep into a film to try and get inside the mind of the writer. Where did this idea come from? So this is a practical approach. So have a look at any film that you can stomach, that you can watch, that you enjoy preferably, and try and look deep into it and try and get inside the mind of the writer or the writers and try and see where that actual idea came from. Now, it may have been an adaptation, so it may have been adapted from a book, for example, but then look at where that idea for that book came from. So try and get into the mind of that, and then you can start to see how people work. So The Forever War, for example, which is one of my favorite books, I cannot remember the name. I think it's Jonathan Hampton, I think. It was one of the sci-fi masterworks that was published in the early noughties. It was number one in the sci-fi works as well, and it was about very high level hard sci-fi about troops going off to Pluto and then going off somewhere else to fight this forgotten war. Sorry, it's called the Forgotten War, not the Forever War. And the troops came back, and because of the distance of space and stuff, they were back 150 years after the war was even started. But to them, it felt like they'd only been away for 5 years and everyone had forgotten about them. They were effectively completely forgotten about. And this was all based on the way that the veterans were treated in the United States in the 1970s after the Vietnam War and the 1980s, and etc., etc. Films like Rambo, for example, Rambo First Blood, a great film, by the way. Films like that really deal with that aspect of the veteran coming back and being lost. And there's lots of sci-fi books and lots of sci-fi content out there that if you watch it, you're like, hang on a minute, this is the Vietnam War. So knowing that there are writers taking things from history and using aspects of that will really help you, because a lot of the time people think, oh, I can't really plagiarize that particular event because that everyone will think, oh, that's obvious, you're just talking about Brexit. But to be fair, that's kind of where all the ideas come from, is they come from real life experiences. So real life things that have happened, real life historical events. So it's good to kind of know that, because then you know where the plot goes, you know where it's going to kind of end up. You sort of understand what the pitfalls are, and then you get to really kind of research the humanity behind it, because the way that things have happened in those real life situations are usually way more interesting than anything you could ever really think of anyway. So taking, for example, the Watergate scandal, looking at that and then being like, oh God, that actually did happen. Like Nixon did actually pay for people to spy on the Democratic Party and to go into a hotel and steal documents and have a look at stuff. That happened. And that's something that a lot of people might say, oh, that'll never happen. Presidents won't do that. But Nixon did. So you can use that in your kind of storyline. If you have a potential corrupt politician or something like that, you can see how far they would go to cheat their way into office. So it's very important to kind of remember that these things have happened and they do exist, and they can formulate great ideas in your mind. So look at your favorite films and try to think really hard about where those ideas were born. Then do a little bit of research. So the concept for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, for example, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre concept arose in the early 1970s while Tobe Hooper was working as an assistant film director at the University of Texas in Austin and as a documentary cameraman. He had already developed a story involving the elements of isolation, the woods and darkness, although the character of Leatherface and minor story details were inspired by the crimes of murderer Ed Gein. Its plot is largely fictional, but Ed Gein, for example, the murderer, was the person that this guy obviously looked upon and kind of used as his sort of as his muse, pretty freaky muse. But that was the aspect of it. Gosh, the only plane flying over London right now. There it is. Anyway, so as you think about that, like the elements of isolation, the woods and the darkness. If you've ever been to Austin, Texas, you know that there are woods there, and there is a lot of isolation in Texas. Texas is a massive state. It's got huge open lands, and it's also got lots of woodland as well. And you see that the darkness and stuff, he was clearly inspired by his surroundings. He could see what was happening and where it was all going, and that sort of shaped his mindset when he was thinking, like, I want to come up with an idea for a film. I mean, maybe he came up with the idea first before he came up with the idea of actually making it into a film. Usually those are the best stories, where you think of a story fictionally, you think, oh, that would really work, that would be really good, and then you think, oh, actually I could turn that into a film, or I could turn that into a book, or I could turn that into a short story, or whatever you want to do. That's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Now moving on to one of my other favorite films, The Thing. So the concept for the Thing was adapted and based on the 1938 John W. Campbell junior novella who goes there. The author's fascination with asking the question at the time of what would happen to humans placed inside the most challenging environment within reach versus a possibility of absolute hell on earth being unleashed there, thus raising the stakes beyond and to the edge of the scientific paradigm. So, this is a classic example of raising the stakes to ridiculous levels, but it works because raising the stakes is a fundamental aspect of storytelling. Actors do it, writers do it, directors do it. In every single opportunity for drama, you must always say to yourself, okay, how can we make this more life or death? How can we make this more interesting? How can we make the audience sit forward and think, ooh, uh-oh. And The Thing does this perfectly. These are guys that are on an expedition to, I think it's the North Pole, or is it the South Pole? I can't remember. North or South Pole. But basically they're there and halfway through they discover something there that's really terrible. But before that, they actually end up getting more, they get isolated. But the isolated aspect isn't the story. It's a part of the story, but it isn't the apex of the drama. The apex of the drama is when this thing turns up and starts killing everybody. So think about that. Like, you've got a great idea, you've got a great concept, say that the famous stories of all those captains that went to the South Pole and got missing and got trapped. They're great stories and they're very interesting. But if you want to take it up a level, you can take it up a level. And this is what John Carpenter did with The Thing. And it definitely works. Ask anyone what they think of John Carpenter The Thing, and if they've seen it, they'll tell you it's a masterpiece. So knowing how seeds are planted by those whose work you really admire will in turn benefit you in your quest for generating fantastic stories. So think about the people that you really admire. Think about the directors, the writers, the people that you think are really good at their craft, like really good writers, really good directors. Have a look at them, study them, and think to yourself, like, where did that idea come from? Where did the idea of Inception come from Jonathan Nolan and Christopher Nolan? Where did they come up with that idea? Was it Jonathan's idea? Or was it Christopher Nolan's idea? Had they had dreams within dreams before? Was that the concept that they originally planned out, or did they go deeper with that? And you can investigate. You can find Christopher Nolan talking about it in interviews. You can find out different things about that. And you can really just go in. I mean, Google's your friend through all of this, right? And YouTube, 100%. But you need to really kind of understand what makes the work that makes you tick, what makes the creator of that work create ideas, and then in a way you can kind of set the conditions and set the foundations for yourself to come up with similar ideas too. It's as simple as that. It's how everybody that is incredibly creative and incredibly successful get to that point. They become auteurs of their idols in a sense, and they kind of understand exactly where and what people do. I think it's Shinji Natakawa. I always get the name mixed up a little bit. But George Lucas, for example, is a huge fan of that Japanese filmmaker. And I know Steven Spielberg is as well. And they followed him in the 1950s. And then he inspired them to come up with certain films. I mean, you watch any of Natakawa's previous films, like The Hidden Fortress, for example, and that's Star Wars. So it's really important to see that these are kind of where ideas come from. It's like you're kind of going through the jungle and you're observing how things happen and why things happen, and you're seeing other species like yourself dealing with the jungle, and you kind of understand, okay, so they're drinking from the water, right? That's good. So that's fresh water. They're over there cracking coconuts. That's good. They're eating coconuts. And you just kind of get your idea around how things work. And that's the same with anything. Like, storytelling is an art form. It's something that you can practice, and coming up with ideas for the basis of your stories is also an art form, and it's also a practice, and it's also something that you can definitely get great at. So look deep into your soul and ask yourself, why do you create? Okay, this is a fundamental question. Is it for you? Is it for others? Or is it for revenge? Now, I say is it for revenge as a kind of a joke, but without really knowing why it is you're creating something, or why it is that you want to create things, you're going to find it really difficult to maintain motivation. So if you know that you're creating because you want to have a body of work that you can look back on and say, I am proud of this work. Or if you want to look back on your body of work and say, I am proud of my festival selections. Or if you want to look back on your work and you want to say, I'm proud of all these trophies that I've won because of my work. Or if you want to look at your house and say, I am proud of my work because it's helped me buy this house. Like, whatever you've got that's that is the end game for all of your creativity. If you have some form in your mind of an end game, even if it's just to maintain your happiness and to make sure that your ideas get made, even if it's just that, it's important to make sure that you have a mission statement. We run something called a production accelerator, and it's one of the most important parts of it is where you actually come up with your own mission. Something that Ben Pullman, one of the other co-founders at Liftoff, has created. I highly recommend you guys sign up. You just go to the liftoff.network main page and just sign up for the production workshops. There's a little link at the bottom of the screen there when you go in. I highly recommend it. It's great. But also, like, knowing what your mission statement is will keep you on your rails. It will keep you heading forward and keep you going up the ladder towards your idea creation and helping you always come up with ideas, because it gets you out of bed in the morning. It gets you to the writing desk. It gets you to the computer. It gets you really thinking. So it's very important to kind of know deep down inside of you. It could be extremely personal why you do these things. Like I said, revenge. It could be incredibly personal, but do it. Because if you don't know why you're making something, if you don't really know why you're creating something, you're going to find yourself getting distracted, moving away from things, all that stuff. And it's not good to do that. You need to know why it is you're creating. So knowing why you want to come up with an idea is the perfect foundation for building one. 100%. So consume your favorite content in every way possible. So this is something that you do around the web of creating ideas. You just kind of think about your favorite content and you just consume as much as you can. So you read the work by writers that you love. You read the work that cover genres that you love. You listen to audiobooks, to people talking. You go and watch workshops online by people discussing stuff that you really like. You watch stuff, right? You watch as much content as possible. You watch without looking. This is an interesting one. So watch films that you really enjoy without the sound on, and just see if the story is told in pictures as well as it could. And then the reverse, watch without listening. So watch without looking, so have the picture off and just listen to it. And then the vice versa, watching without listening, where you can just kind of see the images flow through. And then research the conceptual journey of everything you love. So research the conceptual journey. So research the journey from conception to completion of your favorite films, of your favorite books. Something we've just hit on previously to this, but I'm reiterating it again because I think it's incredibly important. Knowing where these ideas come from will enable you to look at yourself and figure out how to create great ideas too. So how do you think, right? What is your brain like? How does it thrive? When does it thrive? And what are the conditions for it to thrive? So everything about idea creation is from our brain, right? It really is. So understanding how you think and knowing what your brain is like is key to getting this sorted. Okay? What makes the brain tick? So you'll find that it's when you've had vitamins, when you've had water, when you've had oxygen, and when you've had plenty of rest. So I find my incredibly enthusiastic, workable moments are in the morning. I'll read emails back at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and I'll be like, I wrote that? Really? Did I actually write that email? I have no idea that I've come up with such eloquent language. But in the afternoon, after my lunch and stuff, I just go, because my stomach's moving and it's taking all the blood away from my head. That's how your body works, okay? But if you get plenty of vitamins, but not too much vitamins, not too much vitamins. If you get plenty of food with good vitamins and your body is recharged all the time, you'll find that in those periods of where you have an empty stomach and you're drinking plenty of water, breathing well and resting, you come up with some really great ideas. The brain just ticks in such a way, you're so much more on it. You know, it's really, really good. Many people might say that they prefer to do their driving tests in the morning, or they prefer to do their driving test in the evening, that kind of thing. You know, like the exams and stuff, it's all there. Like, we all kind of know how our brains work. So creating the conditions for that is really important. So vitamins B, C, E, and K. So whole food, unprocessed diet that includes plenty of healthy fats is really good for the brain. Plenty of water, that goes without saying. Our bodies are made up of water. Having more water enables our brain to be supple, enables everything to move better, and enables us to kind of think clearer. I know that sounds kind of weird, but it's true. You have a glass of water and you can think clearer. Try it. It works. Plenty of exercise. Yep, you need that blood pumping into your mind all the time. Just going for a walk, walking the dog, walking down to the shops, anything like that. You'll find that when you're moving and when you're walking, your brain comes up with some thoughts and ideas that you would never have had if you were just slumped down watching the TV with your brain switched off. So get yourself up and moving. Very, very key, especially in a period like now where exercise is so much more important. Plenty of sleep. Yep. So deal with your rubbish. Deal with your rubbish before you go to bed. Get everything dealt with. If you can't sleep, then you're too busy thinking. Try to become friends with your subconscious so your subconscious doesn't keep tackling you or leveling you out and stopping you from sleeping. If you're worrying all the time and if you're worrying about things, just remember that there's always going to be another day. There's always going to be the next day. Of course, there could be things that you are really worrying about, and that's absolutely understandable. But sometimes the things that we worry about only get solved in time anyway. They only get solved with time anyway. So just let yourself have that time. Let yourself sleep. Maybe your subconscious will come up with the solution and you'll wake up in the morning feeling an awful lot better. So something I always think, if you have trouble sleeping, which a lot of us do, lay down in bed at night and retrace your day, starting with the moment you woke up all the way through to the moment you got into bed. By the time you get to around about tea time, around about sort of like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, you'll be asleep. I guarantee it. If you can maintain that focus on the visualization of your day up until that point, it really helps. And getting plenty of sleep, 7 hours minimum, definitely. Just conked out. It's so good for your mind. It's so good for the brain. You come up with some fantastic ideas, and sometimes you can have wicked dreams as well. So keep a notepad and pen handy by the side of the bed and write down anything that comes to your head when you wake up. Sometimes it's absolute nonsense, but other times it can be brilliant. I mean, that could be where Inception came from, right? It really could. So do not underestimate the power of your subconscious mind, okay? Do not underestimate it. Think about an eventual goal for your content, heavily focused on the why should this exist aspect. Consume content that inspires you, research the roots of those ideas, consume some more, have a glass of water, have a nap, go for a walk, and finish up with a nice, tasty Spanish omelette. Yummy. I bet you have an idea. I bet you do. I bet you come up with an idea. I bet you come up with something like that's wicked, that you're like, oh my gosh, that's the idea of the century. I need to make this happen. Try it. I'll go back. Here we go. Here it is. Just to reiterate again. Think about an eventual goal for your content, heavily focused on the why should this exist aspect. Consume content that inspires you. Research the roots of those ideas. Consume some more. Have a glass of water. Have a nap. Go for a walk and finish up with a nice, tasty Spanish omelette. It's lunchtime. I'm getting hungry. Okay, I bet you have an idea. So, okay, there's creative pitfalls, right? Which is the dollars and the pound signs. This is the money, okay? The euros. We need money in order to make things happen. So other people not getting it, that's also a really annoying thing. But if you get it, there will be people out there that do get it. So don't worry about the creative pitfalls of cash. Look at our previous workshops that discuss this sort of thing, getting ideas off the ground, all that sort of stuff. There's so many different workshops that we've put together. How to find a producer, for example. That's a really good workshop that I think is really key for people right now, especially if you're looking to try and get your work made. Check it out, okay? Really important. But understanding what sets you back and what will prevent you from making your work a reality within a decent amount of time, say a 3-month period. If there's something that will stop that from happening, then you need to work around that and have a plan to get around it, okay? Or not work on that idea right now. Wait until later on and then have another idea that helps you get to that next idea. Really, really key. So remember, keep concepting ideas. Keep solving problems for others. Yep. Keep filming. Keep directing actors and keep trying to build your brand. A really good workshop on building your brand. We've got that in the channel description below. Not the channel description, in the channel. Just click on the channel, go to Liftoff Workshops and have a look at our Friday workshops previously. How to build a filmmaking brand. Really good one. So also, when it comes to everything, revenue is vanity, the profit that you make is sanity, but the cash is reality. Whatever you have cash-wise is your kind of your stumbling block initially for getting your work out there, right? But if you have enough, you can make it. And if you make some, that's great as well. It's very, very important because films run on cash. Okay, they run on cash. They don't run on profit. They don't run on revenue. They run on cash. So if you can get the cash together, then you can make the content. Okay, just always keep this in mind. It's a very fundamental point. So yeah, send your concepts to Liftoff and we'll take them to the Cannes Film Market to road test. The Cannes Film Market is online this year. We will be attending. We've got tons and tons of meetings. Concepts can be literally treatments, A4 size paper, letter size paper, just one sheet, one size, just saying what it is. When we have meetings, we'll be taking projects. We take 10 projects to the film market every year. To every film market, we take 10 different projects. The projects that we take are short films, larger concepts, electronic promotional packs, all that stuff. We have all of those things with us as part of the 10, but also as a subside to that, if you're a professional member, we can take your concepts as well, because so many times producers will say to us, do you have something like this? Do you have something like that? Right now it's road trip web series that seem to be making the money. And we're like, oh no, we don't have that in our 10, but we might have that in our concepts. So then we'll go through our concepts that you guys have sent us, and then we'll tell them, and then we'll make that connection with you guys, and we don't take a fee. This is all part of your professional membership. We go to the film market for you. We are your production representative at every film market. If you're a Liftoff member, take advantage of it and send us your ideas. Okay, send us them. We don't own them. We will never own them. Copyright them. Put them in an envelope and post them to yourself, and never open that envelope so it's dated and it's copyrighted. Okay, really easy way to copyright something. We will take your concept to Cannes and we will try and get it seen by the right types of people. Okay, it's so difficult for filmmakers out there right now, and we have the resources to go to the film market, so we're going and we're taking your work with us. All right, so send it to us. So following last year's success, we are again heading to Cannes to represent the projects of our professional network members to bring them to the next step in their career. We will be meeting with over 50 sales agents, producers and VOD platforms such as Amazon and Netflix. Yep, all booked in. A big part of our membership entitles you to use this market service every year free of charge. So this is professional membership. It's $189 for the year. It's Liftoff professional membership, and you get free submissions to every single Liftoff film festival. You get career road mapping, which is every Wednesday live from our YouTube channel. You get to be able to come onto a career road mapping session. So check that out right now. Have a look. And you can join us in the audience when we eventually get back into our space, which we did this week, but we're still being a little bit careful because of COVID-19. You get a live jobs dashboard where you can apply for jobs within the film industry. You get film market representation at every single major film market. So Cannes, AFM, EFM, Toronto, Sundance, the list goes on. All right, so do check it out. If you're a filmmaker looking to build your career, this is built for you. And you can head to liftoff.network/membership to sign up. And that's it. So I'll just see if we've got any questions in the chat room right now. Oh, we've got lots of people chatting. This is good. So big hello to Peter. Peter Semlek, hello. How's it going from Prague, Czech Republic? Hi, Peter. Hope you're well. We also have Michael Sundberg. Hello from Vilnius, Lithuania. Very big basketballing in Vilnius. I had a friend that lived in Vilnius, and they loved the basketball. Good to see you, Michael. Natalie and Claire, good to see you too. Hi, Catherine. Hope you're well. Really good to see Catherine in there as well. Max Aaron, great way to really learn visual storytelling. Yeah, fantastic. So Catherine's sending us 2 concepts today. Fab. Thank you, Catherine. We love them. Keep them coming, okay, guys? That's it from me. You guys have been fantastic as always. Hello from South London. Oh, cool. I'm in North London right now. Good to see you, Yilmaz. Good to see you, dude. Thank you so much for stopping by. Perfect, guys. Thank you so much. Big shout out to everyone in the chat room. Big shout out to all the people that are catching up with this video right now. If it's in the past, it's great to have you with us. We love every single one of our subscribers. And like I said before, we have videos every Wednesday and every Friday. They go out live. So join us in the chat room. Join us for the chat. And we can't wait. We can't wait to see where this goes, okay? We're going to be building a really great community right here. So please join us, subscribe, become members, and adios. Have a great weekend. Thanks, guys. Take care.